Hey, Shalom, Esha, when the stuff is always by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakal Kodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honors to brothers doing the work in truth and sincerity. This is another quick one. This one is actually from, I would call it, there's been an uproar recently about H&M. H&M is a retailer, fashion retailer, at least here in the UK. I don't know if it's in America or where else they operate. But basically they had a campaign where they were getting children to model their children wear, right? And then they had what do you call it? They had all these heathen women, whatever, what have you. And it looks like first one looks like a mix, second one looks like Edom's, bottom left looks like Moab or something, and bottom right looks like Elam. Whether they are or not, I don't know, but I'm just saying that's what it looks like to myself. Right, and top left, I said mix, as the world understands, because there ain't no such thing as mix. You are what your father is pursuing to Numbers 1:18. Right, but however, you see all of those, but what do people actually complain about? Right, people are complaining about this Jake woman, because they're like, oh, how are they gonna present you know, how they're gonna present black women like this, blah 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 blah, right? And hey, look, man, you just gotta understand, man. This is a curse from the Most High, because that. Look, man, our women are cursed, right? You look at that, man. I mean, I've had longer hair than that, right? And whatever, and you compare it with these other four, where yeah, their hair may not be strong or whatever, what have you, but for instance, you look at the little Elam, the hair there, that's a big head of hair, and I believe they're all more or less the same age, right? But you look at our women, man, right? This is an example to the world of how our women ain't got no hair. See, what a lot of these the heathens may not really understand is the concept of weave, right? And they might be looking at, oh, but the hair's naturally long. Nah, this is how the so-called black woman looks. And I think that's really what the whole uproar has been about, because that secret was uncovered, right, with this photo, right? And you got to be real with it. It's a damn shame that this is our woman, because the scriptures tell you about the glory of a woman, right? This is Isaiah 3:16. It says, moreover Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, proud, and walk with stretched forth necks, proud and wanting eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet, right? All proud, right? Just proud. It says, therefore, and you see, man, you see these so-called Jake, so-called, not so-called, but these so-called black women, man. They'll have the long acrylics, right? That nasty weave, right? That those nasty pum pum shorts or whatever, right? Just looking all hella nasty, but they'll still be hella proud, flicking their fake nails in their fake hair, right? But little do they know that they're in the predicament that they're in, right? Because it's a curse unto them, right? But it's an identifying curse, right? Because who else has this curse? Like, you saw all those different nations, they all had their hair, right? But then you had the so-called black girl, right? Little Jake girl, and she had no hair. Right, and that wasn't a no hair because she cut it. That was a no hair because that it couldn't grow, right? It says, therefore Yahweh will smite with the scab the crown of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts. Right? It says the scab, the crown, the head of the daughters of Zion. I was talking about their hair, man. Right? They ain't gonna be able to grow hair, right? And that's like I said, that's a curse unto them. This is verse 24. It says, and it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell they shall be stink, and instead of a girdle of rent, and instead of well set hair, boldness. Right, so they're going to be bold. Right? It says, instead of a stomach, a girding of sackcloth and burning instead of beauty. Right? Burn ugly, man. Right? But that ain't so. And that is one of the reasons why we yearn for the kingdom of Israel. Right? Because this is a what do you call it? A curse unto us, man. right? Imagine, that this is how we look to the whole world, right? Your men are gangbangers and your women can't grow their own hair, right? Israel's in a lower state, right? But when people hear us say these things, how you hating on a black woman? Look, man, look, we gon' in the kingdom, black woman's gonna go back to be the so-called black woman, right? When she's an Israelite woman again, right? When she's a Judite woman, when she's a Benjamite woman, when she's a Levite woman, an Asherite woman, right? An Issacharite woman, right? When they're back as the daughters of Israel of old, they gonna have their beauty back, man. Just like how the men of Israel gonna be exalted. You think that the men of Israel gonna be brought low, and the women of Israel gonna be okay? Nah, the Lord brought us down as a nation, right? So 1 Corinthians 11 and 15. But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. Right, so the Lord took that away. The Lord took the glory away. But that's also why we don't have our women. You go up to the top. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. It says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is the Most High. All right, now we went off, the men went off, right? So the Lord's like, all right, cool. If I ain't got you, then you ain't got your glory, right? Now, what's a man's glory, right? It's in there somewhere. Where is it? Let me find it. Finding page. There we go. This is verse 7. It says, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, right? So a man ain't supposed to cover his head when he's praying and prophesying, right? It says, for as much as he is the image and glory of the Most High, but the woman is the glory of the man, right? So Lord's like, look, I ain't got my glory, right? The men of Israel. So like, cool, you ain't got your glory, which is the, what do you call it? Which is the woman. So it's like, let me say that again. The Most High hasn't got his glory, which is the men of Israel, right? So therefore the Lord said, look, man, you ain't having your glory, which is the women, right? And then the Lord said, but you women, you ain't getting no scot-free, so you ain't having your glory, which is their hair, right? As we read in verse 15, right? So that's why the Lord cursed the so-called black woman. This is Luke 7:36, and one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him, and he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Yahushua sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment, and stood at the feet behind him weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now when the Pharisee, which had bidden himself, saw it, he spake within himself, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner. And Yahushua answering him said, so this is the spiritual power of Yahushua, right, that he gave unto his son, right, and scriptures say we are joint heirs unto him, and that the works that Yahushua did we go and do and greater, right? So this man, he was thinking, the Pharisee was thinking it, but then Yahushua heard it, despite the fact he never voiced it, right? It says he spake within himself, right? It says, Yahushua answering said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And he saith, Master, say on. There was a certain creditor. I mean, that goes into something else, but the point that I wanted to get there, right, is what does it says? It says, and did wipe them, in verse 38, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, right? So that means, I remember Apostle, I believe it was Apostle Gabal, it was definitely one of the apostles, basically making the point, well, that means her hair must have been long, right? She couldn't wipe the feet of Yahushua's, she couldn't wipe Yahushua's feet with her hair like this, right? She must have had long hair, right? That's the point of that one. And the story of Judas. This is it's a good read, right? But Judas is a scriptural example of a beautiful Israelite woman, right? right? So much so it says this is Judith 10:19. I mean, really, you got to read more into it, right? Because there's a whole backstory to this and whatever, what have you. But this is Judith 10:19 in the Apocrypha, right? And they wondered at her beauty and admired her, right? So this is enemies, right, of Israel, right? It says, and they wondered at her beauty and admired the children of Israel because of her. And everyone said to his neighbor, who would despise this people that have among them such women? Right? Surely it is not good that one man of them be left, who being let go might deceive the whole earth. Right? Now, basically, they're saying that Judith was so beautiful. There's so many different verses in this, in chapter 10 and chapter 9, right? Basically talking about how beautiful Judith was, right? It says, and when Judith was come before him, this is Holofernes, right? And his servants, they all marveled at the beauty of the countenance, and she fell down upon her face and did reverence unto him, and his servants took her up, right? And she would have had some long, beautiful hair, whether it was, out in an afro or straightened or whatever. We don't know, but she would have had to have been a beautiful woman, right? And this is what we yearn for. This is one of the reasons why we yearn for the kingdom of Israel, right? So until next time, hopefully you was edified. I'm going to say shalom.